Good evening. Welcome to Loveworld USA News. I'm TGK Andre. First, let's take a quick look at the top stories this evening. Congress moves to limit Pentagon troop reductions in Europe and South Korea. Trump demands apology from CBS over Green interview and Hunter Biden coverage. NYC mayor-elect faces pressure on crackdown of illicit Chinese vapes. ICE blasts Illinois for releasing violent criminal illegal immigrants despite active detainers. And Jasmine Crockett enters Texas Senate race, reshaping 2026 battle for key seat. And now to the news. Congress is restricting the Pentagon from reducing U.S. forces in Europe and South Korea, aiming to reassure allied governments. The 2026 National Defense Authorization Act bars troop levels in Europe from dropping below 76,000 and in South Korea below 28,500 without Pentagon assessments and congressional approval. The bill also codifies the U.S. role as Supreme Allied Commander Europe, ensuring an American general holds NATO's top post. These measures respond to prior Pentagon discussions about possible troop cuts and secure changes, which raised concerns among allies about U.S. commitment. The legislation includes $400 million for Ukraine over 2 years and sets strict rules on reclaiming U.S.-funded military equipment. Officials said the U.S. will maintain SASUR while offering other senior NATO post-European nations, signaling continued leadership in alliance defense. Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson emphasized that the U.S. expects European allies to increase responsibility for conventional defense. Lawmakers plan a swift House vote aiming to pass the NDAA before Christmas and maintain the current U.S. military presence overseas. President Donald Trump has criticized CBS in 60 Minutes following the airing of a Lesley Stahl interview with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump argued the network, now under new ownership following Paramount's merger with Skydance Media, is no better than the old ownership that previously reported on him unfairly. Trump highlighted Stahl's 2020 interview when she dismissed claims about Hunter Biden's laptop, calling it Russian disinformation. He insisted the laptop was later verified and demanded a complete and total apology from Stahl in 60 Minutes for what he called libelous statements. The president also attacked Greene's recent comments, claiming Republicans are terrified to disagree with him. Trump called Greene not America First or MAGA and criticized her for appearing unprepared during the CBS interview. Greene is set to leave Congress in January. Trump's criticism coincides with Paramount CEO David Ellison's new tender offer to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery, highlighting ongoing corporate media changes. Trump previously sued CBS over an edited 2024 interview with then Vice President Kamala Harris, settling for $16 million, which funded legal fees and future charitable presidential library initiatives. Watch this.
60 Minutes interview getting millions of eyeballs. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking with Lesley Stahl at a time when Greene says she's been cast aside by the MAGA movement, especially after having a major public disagreement with President Donald Trump over the push to release files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
The Epstein files, and he was extremely angry at me that I had signed the discharge petition to release the files. I fully believe that those women deserve everything they're asking. They're asking for all of it to come out. They deserve it. And he was furious with me.
What did he say?
He said that it was going to hurt people.
So the president responded to Greene's interview with 60 Minutes in a lengthy Truth Social post this morning, saying in part, quote, "She sort of reminds me of a rotten apple. Marjorie is not America First or MAGA because nobody could have changed her views so fast, and her new views are those of a very..."
New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is under pressure to act against the flood of illegal Chinese vapes in the city. Smoke shops across the boroughs continue selling these products, often targeting teens, despite federal bans. Former NYC Sheriff Edgar Dominic urged Mamdani to continue enforcement and secure a share of $200 million allocated by the FDA to fight illicit vapes. Federal authorities warned that disposable flavored vapes from China remain widely available, with many smoke shops serving as fronts for drugs, firearms, and money laundering. Under Mayor Eric Adams, the city seized over 1,200 pounds of illegal vapes worth $80 million and sued distributors shipping candy-flavored products into neighborhoods. Despite federal restrictions, China's vape industry, valued at $28 billion, still sends two-thirds of its products to U.S. consumers, with more than 80% of vapes sold nationwide being illicit. Critics say now is not the time to scale back enforcement, as the city remains a hotspot for illegal vape distribution and youth usage. Mamdani has proposed cutting fees and fines for small businesses and gained backing from the United Bodegas of America, whose members have been cited for violating vape bans. Observers warn that his administration must prioritize public safety over appeasing business groups or risk continuing the illegal vape epidemic across New York. Watch this.
They're shipping them over here. They're making themselves richer by making us sicker.
FDA-approved vapes are only tobacco or menthol flavored. Anything that smells like fruit or candy, that's illegal.
None of those are approved by the FDA. None of the fruity flavors, the pina colada, the ones with the video games, the ones that say strawberry, cotton candy, bubble gum. Who are those marketing? Children. And they are not legal in this country.
The head of the FDA says the marketing toward kids is working.
Yeah, we've got good kids from good families who are addicted. They know they're addicted, and they want to stop, and they can't stop.
Without FDA approval, there's no control of the chemical components.
A lot of them have really bad contaminants in them, like formaldehyde that your kids are now smoking, and THC, and God knows what's else.
In September, federal law enforcement seized $86.5 million worth of Chinese-made e-cigarettes in the Chicago area. And that's just the start of a new enforcement crackdown.
So get the trash off of your shelves, or we're going to come after you.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is warning that Illinois officials are releasing violent criminal illegal immigrants back into communities, despite active detainers, raising major public safety concerns. ICE leadership says the state is holding and releasing offenders tied to murder, rape, child sexual assault, and armed robbery, even though federal law requires these individuals be transferred for removal. President Donald Trump supporters argue the situation shows how sanctuary policies endanger citizens while shielding criminal offenders. ICE says Illinois has released 1,760 criminal aliens with active detainers since January, including offenders convicted of attempted murder, aggravated kidnapping, child abduction, and predatory sexual assault of a child. Another 4,015 remain in custody with active detainers, tied to more than 50 homicides and over 800 sexual predatory crimes. Federal agents say they were forced to rearrest multiple individuals after local agencies freed them without notifying ICE. Officials highlighted cases where offenders walked free despite convictions for kidnapping, sexual assault, and deadly crashes, many later apprehended during federal operations. ICE warns these releases show Illinois repeatedly ignoring lawful detainers and allowing dangerous individuals to walk the streets again, a move critics say reflect political priorities rather than public safety. The agency is now pressing state leaders to reverse course, saying continued refusal to cooperate plainly jeopardizes public safety. Supporters of stricter enforcement argue that President Donald Trump's approach, prioritizing removals of violent offenders and penalizing sanctuary jurisdictions, is the only strategy that forces compliance. Conservatives say Illinois' actions prove why stronger federal oversight is needed to protect law-abiding citizens from preventable crimes. Watch this.
Because the elected leaders in this state of Illinois are ignoring the law. In fact, they're being obstructionists when it comes to getting dangerous criminals off of their streets. They are deciding that dangerous criminals that are murderers, rapists, money launderers, have committed assault, that are trafficking children, are more important than the families that live in the communities here. That includes Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, and others who have worked so hard to protect these dangerous criminals. They'd rather be a sanctuary state and continue to put those individuals above American citizens who built this country, who've raised their families here for generations, and just want to be able to walk down the street safely at night and put their kids to bed and live a peaceful life. Today I'm highlighting 4 different examples of individuals that we've recently arrested here out of this office with the good work of ICE and our HSI officers that we've taken off the streets without the help of the governor or the mayor. Our federal officers have had to do this alone without their support, and these dangerous individuals are now no longer victimizing people because of the good work that we do. Hector Bonaparte is a 42-year-old illegal Mexican alien who had previously been convicted of predatory sexual criminal assault against a victim under the age of 13. We have Jarvin Flores Santos, who's a 40-year-old Honduras individual who was arrested back in 2020 the first time for aggravated criminal sexual abuse and attempted criminal sexual abuse of a minor under the age of 13 again. And Waldemar Jabik, a Polish citizen who had been convicted in 2014 for attempted murder and then also aggravated domestic battery. He was convicted of these after he stabbed his own wife and his 19-year-old daughter. It was not the first time that police had been called to his house for domestic disturbance, but he was never held accountable until recently by these federal officers. Don Gay Silas, a 33-year-old illegal...
The news will be back after this break. Don't go anywhere.
In a world that's always moving, staying connected to the right resources makes all the difference. Welcome to the Loveworld App Store, the digital home of everything that powers your journey in the Loveworld nation. Here, discovery is simple and meaningful. With our categories section, you can explore a wide range of apps designed to enrich your spirit.
I'm praying especially for you. You that have been sick. You need a miracle.
On the Loveworld App Store, you can access all your favorite apps, such as Healing School app, King's Chat, PCDL, Rhapsody app, Love Tunes, ESPYs, Loveworld Worship, Herald app, Alpha TV, King's View, C-Flix, Hello Loveworld, PCDL for Kids, King's Conference, and so much more. Each application is created to serve a unique purpose and bring you closer to a life of impact. Explore My App feature, where your most valued tools are gathered in one convenient place. It's your personalized hub, ready whenever you are. The Loveworld App Store is more than a collection of apps. It's a vibrant ecosystem built to inspire faith, foster connection, and equip you for impact. Visit www.lwappstore.com to download the app on your device. Explore a world where purpose meets technology. Loveworld App Store. All your world in one place.
Welcome back. Representative Jasmine Crockett, a Democratic congresswoman from the Dallas area and a prominent critic of President Donald Trump and Republican leaders, has filed to run for the U.S. Senate in Texas. Her last-minute entry ahead of the state's filing deadline positions her in a high-stakes 2026 contest that could help determine control of the Senate. Crockett joins the Democratic primary after former Representative Colin Allred ended his second bid for the Senate and announced he would instead run to return to the House. State Representative James Talarico remains in the race, setting up a primary between two well-known Democratic figures with strong fundraising networks. No Democrat has won a statewide election in Texas in more than 3 decades. On the Republican side, longtime Senator John Cornyn is seeking re-election and faces primary challenges from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Representative Wesley Hunt. The new congressional map backed by Texans Republicans and upheld by the Supreme Court is designed to add several GOP-leaning House seats and is a key part of a broader redistricting push ahead of the 2026 midterms. Crockett's candidacy adds a high-profile progressive Democrat to the statewide ballot. Her sharp criticism of Trump and Texas GOP officials has boosted her national profile and energized many Democrats, while Republicans argue that her record and rhetoric will make her vulnerable in a general election in a right-leaning state. Watch this.
The representative, Jasmine Crockett, says she is going to put her eyes on a U.S. Senate run. That announcement coming today as Texas Rep. Jasmine Crockett declares her U.S. Senate run today, jolting an already contentious Democratic primary as the party banks on flipping the reliably red state in its push to retake control of Congress's upper chamber. This is coming from the AP showcasing Democratic Rep. Jasmine Crockett launching the bid for U.S. Senate in Texas, looking to flip a Republican-held seat. Crockett, a 2-term representative from Dallas, will challenge State Rep. James Talarico, a rising star within the Democratic Party. Despite polling suggesting an uphill battle, Democrats feel optimistic about winning statewide in Texas for the first time in decades.
President Donald Trump says he will sign a one-rule executive order this week that would place regulation of artificial intelligence under a single federal standard. arguing that a patchwork of state laws is slowing U.S. innovation and weakening America's competitive edge. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote that there must be only one rule book for AI, warning that companies can't expect 50 approvals every time they want to do something. Trump said the order is aimed at ensuring the U.S. maintains its lead in the global AI race, claiming that multiple state-level approval processes and regulatory regimes risk driving investment and growth away from American firms. He has previously argued that overregulation by individual states could undermine both job creation and technological leadership, insisting that AI oversight should be handled at the national level rather than by what he called bad actors among the states. The debate over how to regulate AI has intensified as state legislatures move ahead with their own proposals. Google CEO Sundar Pichai said on Fox News Sunday that there are more than 1,000 AI-related bills under consideration in state houses across the country, and warned that a confusing mix of rules can make it harder for U.S. companies to compete with China and other foreign rivals. Pichai also called for a national framework that would give U.S. firms clearer guidance and a more stable environment for investment. Trump's expected order would follow earlier moves by his administration to use executive authority on economic and technology issues, including tariff actions and trade-related directives. While details of the AI order have not yet been released, the White House is signaling a preference for a single federal standard that would preempt state-level regimes, with reporters arguing that centralized rules will reduce red tape, speed innovation, and help the U.S. confront strategic competition from Beijing. Watch this.
On social media, there must be only one rule book if we are going to continue to lead in AI. This comes after some states passed laws to address potentially risky and harmful uses of AI. Now, critics worry the deregulation could allow companies to evade accountability if their tools harm consumers. Leaders in Silicon Valley argue that state regulations could slow down innovation and affect America's edge in the global AI race.
Netflix has responded to news about a new hostile takeover bid of Warner Bros. Discovery Studio and streaming assets by Paramount Skydance, saying the company is super confident it will complete its nearly $83 billion acquisition. Speaking at the UBS Global Media and Communications Conference in New York, co-CEO Ted Sarandos called Paramount's move entirely expected and reaffirmed that Netflix already has a signed agreement. He said the deal is great for our shareholders, great for consumers, and will help create and protect jobs across the entertainment industry. Paramount's new offer is an all-cash $30 per share bid backed by Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners and sovereign wealth funds in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar. The company has argued that the auction process was flawed, a claim it raised last week after Netflix was named the winning bidder. The bidding war comes as Hollywood continues a period of major consolidation that has raised concerns among creators who fear fewer opportunities for pitching content in a shrinking job market. Comcast, which also made an offer for WBD, said Monday it supports consolidation to help stabilize long-term industry strategies. Warner Bros. Discovery put its assets up for sale in October while preparing to split into two businesses. Netflix ultimately offered a deal valuing WBD at nearly $83 billion, paying $23.25 in cash and $4.50 in stock options per WBD share. Sarandos and co-CEO Greg Peters said they believe the acquisition will withstand regulatory scrutiny, arguing it is pro-consumer and pro-creator. Peters noted that Netflix plans to increase content spending under the new structure. Watch this.
The battle for Warner Bros. Discovery may be far from over. In a stunning twist, Paramount Skydance on Monday launched a hostile bid worth $108.4 billion, aiming to outmuscle Netflix and challenge the dominance of the streaming giant. Netflix had appeared to win the bidding war last Friday with a $72 billion equity offer for Warner Bros. Discovery's TV, film studios, and streaming assets, including HBO and DC Comics. But Paramount's latest move raises the stakes dramatically. Paramount is offering $30 per share, all cash, for the entirety of Warner Bros. Discovery, providing shareholders $18 billion more in cash and an easier path to regulatory approval. Paramount CEO David Ellison also argued his offer would strengthen Hollywood and benefit consumers with more competition. Some analysts and industry experts see Paramount as the best suitor given Ellison's deep pockets, which are backed by his father, Oracle co-founder and world's second richest person, Larry Ellison. The elder Ellison also has close ties with the Trump administration. Netflix's bid, which comes with a $5.8 billion breakup fee, has already drawn sharp criticism from bipartisan lawmakers and Hollywood unions over concerns it could lead to job cuts as well as higher prices for consumers. President Trump also weighed in over the weekend, questioning the deal.
Could be a problem.
If Paramount succeeds, it would combine Paramount Plus with HBO Max, creating a formidable rival to Netflix, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime Video. But Paramount's bid could also face its own level of scrutiny. A Paramount-Warner Brothers merger would boost its dominant position in the studio business, creating concerns over job losses as the industry rapidly consolidates. Investors are reacting. Paramount shares jumped as much as 7% Monday morning, while Warner Brothers Discovery surged 8%, and shares of Netflix slipped about 5%.
The news continues after this break. Stay with us.
It's easy to set up, quick to start, and packed with value. Smarter streaming starts here with the Alpha TV Stick. Just plug and stream anytime, anywhere. Discover a curated lineup of content designed to inspire, live broadcasts and global events, inspirational films and series, children's programming, healing and teaching sessions, all on demand.
With millions of downloads worldwide, the Alpha TV app is transforming lives across the globe. And now, we're on a mission to reach 1 billion downloads of the Alpha TV app, and you can be part of it. Join the global wave with 1 billion Alpha TV app downloads worldwide. Bring the higher life into every home. Order your Alpha TV Stick today and experience smarter streaming. Alpha, the higher life is here.
Welcome back. Police rushed to Heathrow's Terminal 3 car park shortly after 8 a.m. after an argument among several men reportedly escalated into a pepper spray assault. Officers, including armed units, searched vehicles and quickly detained one man on suspicion of assault as the situation unfolded. Authorities say multiple people were hit by the spray, with 5 taken to the hospital and more than a dozen treated on site. The incident caused significant disruption around the airport, creating gridlock that left some travelers at risk of missing flights. While flights were not directly affected, the chaos on surrounding roads and delays on the Elizabeth line added to the confusion. National Rail reported that train lines have since reopened, but travelers continued facing residual delays. Heathrow urged passengers to check with their airlines and arrive early as the investigation continues. The incident highlights growing concerns over public safety in major transit hubs, an issue many conservatives argue requires stronger enforcement policies to prevent disorder and protect travelers. Let's take a look.
The chaos began when a woman was robbed of her suitcase inside a lift, which then escalated into a full-blown pepper spray attack with dramatic scenes playing out on social media as it all unfolded. Now, video shows heavily armed officers moving into a multi-storey car park at Terminal 3. That is the terminal used by Qantas, with drivers instructed to stay inside their cars as officers searched vehicle to vehicle, sparking widespread panic and confusion among thousands of passengers. Now, this police operation also triggered widespread disruption, with traffic brought to a standstill around the airport, and underground rail services also suspended as emergency crews rushed in. We're told 21 people were treated by paramedics at the scene for minor injuries, including that 3-year-old girl. We're also told a 31-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of assault within 9 minutes of that first emergency call being made. Now, Metropolitan Police were very quick to rule out terrorism, saying those involved are all well known to each other, calling it an isolated incident. Eddie, police are still searching for others involved.
Thailand launched a targeted airstrike along its border with Cambodia after a Thai soldier was killed in what officials say was unprovoked Cambodian fire. The confrontation marks the most serious breach yet of the ceasefire negotiated by President Donald Trump earlier this year, raising concerns that the fragile agreement is slipping. Thai commanders said they struck Cambodian military positions to halt incoming fire, while evacuating civilians from nearby villages as tension spiked. Cambodia, however, blamed Thailand for initiating the violence and urged Bangkok to halt military operations. an exchange that highlights the deep distrust that has long fueled this conflict. The flare-up follows earlier skirmishes that wounded several Thai soldiers and added pressure to a peace deal already strained by landmine incidents and competing territorial claims. Both nations continue to accuse one another of violating the Trump-negotiated truce, though regional analysts warn that outside influence, particularly from China, may be aggravating the instability. Despite President Donald Trump's efforts to broker stability, neither side has fully addressed the underlying border dispute rooted in colonial-era maps. Without stronger enforcement mechanisms and renewed diplomatic pressure, officials caution that the region could drift toward a wider conflict, underscoring the need for firm U.S. leadership to maintain order. Let's take a look.
Others injured, according to the country, which blames Thailand for what it called inhumane and brutal acts of aggression in attempt to change the border line. This video shows school children running to safety in Cambodia as Thailand attacks the border. A fragile peace had existed between the two nations since President Donald Trump arranged a ceasefire in July. Tensions led to one of the deadliest clashes between the countries in recent history, in which 48 people were killed. Trump laid on the pressure by threatening the two countries with backing out of trade deals if hostilities between the nations continued. That rocky deal followed a different failed attempt at peace that Trump and Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim brokered between Cambodia and Thailand in October. Thailand suspended the agreement just 2 weeks after signing it, accusing Cambodia of planting landmines along the border that had injured several Thai soldiers. Residents on both sides of the border have evacuated in large numbers amid the violence, resulting in about 500,000 people being displaced. The Thai-Cambodian conflict comes down to the nearly 500 miles long border. The disagreements date back to 1907, when the border was drawn by the French colonial rule under which Cambodia was a colony. Now, the two countries interpret the border differently, fighting over ancient temples and territory they claim their own. Neither country has shown any signs of backing down, but the recent attacks have brought attention back to the conflict. The Malaysian Prime Minister who helped broker the October peace deal wrote, "The fighting risks unraveling the careful work that has gone into stabilizing relations between the two neighbors." Japan has also urged the countries to seek peace through dialogue. While the United States hasn't released a statement regarding the clashes, all eyes are on President Trump, who has championed himself the president of peace.
Just before we end the news, let's take a quick look at tomorrow's weather forecast. And to end the news today, a quick recap of the headlines. Congress moves to limit Pentagon troop reductions in Europe and South Korea. Trump demands apology from CBS over Green interview and Hunter Biden coverage. New York City mayor-elect faces pressure on crackdown of illicit Chinese vapes. ICE blasts Illinois for releasing violent criminal illegal immigrants despite active detainers. And Jasmine Crockett enters the Texas Senate race, reshaping 2026 battle for a key seat. And that's the news for today. Join us at the same time tomorrow for more news. I'm TGK Andre. Good night. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.